Hello everyone, I'm the EFC, this is Blue Lines TV, and today I'm bringing you a match review and analysis on our 1-0 win over Bournemouth. And getting straight into things, the first thing that we all noticed, and we were all surprised by, was the fact that Rudiger started over Cahill. Now, of course they're saying that potentially Conte's saving Cahill for Roma, but I'm hoping that Conte's actually trying to see how can Rudiger do on the right hand side. And because when we started off, Rudiger was playing a lot on the right hand side. He was decent. The only weakness he was having was only in terms of positioning. Sometimes it was just a bit too deep. But as I keep saying, if you want these guys to get used to how to play, you got to keep playing them some more. So I felt it was very interesting that he actually looked at Rudiger on the left. And in my opinion, I have a feeling that Rudiger will probably start against Roma. And maybe I'm looking into things a bit too deeply, but I was looking at Cahill. He was looking a little bit worried on the bench. This is like Cahill's worst nightmare come real. But it was very good to see. And honestly, that back three of Aspie, Luiz and Rudiger, we were so composed playing out from the back. Whenever any defender was getting put under pressure, they know, oh, I can pass to Rudiger. Rudiger was playing very good passes forwards, which Cahill never does. And I keep making this point. Again, a lot of people do get confused by thinking I hate Cahill. Listen, I don't hate any Chelsea player, especially players that played in the Champions League final to win it for us. They're always going to have my respect. My only thing is I just see there's tactical weaknesses sometimes with Cahill on the team because he doesn't suit, in my opinion, playing as a wide defender. It just doesn't work that way. I feel Rudiger suits that more. And already, his passing, that pass it made to Zappacosta, world-class pass, the composure, a lot of first-time touches. And the thing with Rudiger too, he passes much quicker. Remember that point, quicker compared to Cahill. If you notice some of Cahill's passes, sometimes it's like he's collecting the ball, he's still deciding where to go. How many times have you seen Cahill decide to go forwards? He then loses the ball. And then it's like, I'm not going to push forward with the ball anymore. Rudiger provides that. And I keep making this point about why it's important, especially in the back three, because Conte likes the team to play out from the back. So you need to have three defenders very comfortable in possession. And Rudiger provides that. And I'm thinking that potentially it could be something there because, again, I keep making the point, Rudiger is comfortable defending out wide, which is the number one thing. And did you see how much further forward Alonso was? Even though Alonso wasn't great offensively, how much further forward was he pushing up? And how easy were we recycling possession from the back to start attacks? It was a better performance. Now, getting on with Bournemouth, as I predicted in the match preview early that I, released earlier today, Bournemouth were gonna defend and park the bus basically. And, in a way, we did struggle a bit to break them down at times. I have to say, some credits to Bournemouth defensively. What they did do is they said, you know what, Chelsea, you can have the balls on the flanks. Alonso can have all the space he wants. Zappacosta can have all the space he wants. We don't care about that. We want to defend in the middle. We want to pack our midfielders there. We want to make sure we're suffocating the likes of Pedro, Hazard and Morata from doing anything. And of course, by suffocating the front three, you effectively nullify some of Cesc Fabregas's passes because, of course, there's no options. There's no runs being made in behind. You're playing in front of Bournemouth, and that's what Bournemouth wanted. They wanted us to play in front of them. Now, we did have some chances in the game, and I feel that if we had scored them earlier, it would have completely changed the dynamics of the game fairly quickly. I'm looking at Morata. Now, I did make this point, and I have done a player review before we even signed him. With Morata, I like him a lot. A lot of you guys have heard me make this point. He's a better player than he is world-class striker at this moment in time. For example, if Diego Costa was in this situation that Morata was in, he would have definitely scored those goals. And this is why Diego Costa was a world-class striker, because he gets those first goals, the important goals, and that helps you change the dynamics of the games, especially if you're a team like Chelsea where you need to get the first goal. Morata is going to get better at that. The reason why he is because he's playing week in, week out, and his confidence is going to get up. And once he isn't relying on confidence to get his goals, then you're going to see him become a world-class player. But again, it's just patience is what he needs. And I've made this point to him, Morata is a confidence-driven player. When he's scoring goals, you'll see his best performances. When he's not, it's going to affect him a bit. Personally, for me, I wanted Conte to let him play the whole game. But I do understand we've got Roma coming up on Tuesday, which isn't far away. want to stay fit for that. The same reason for why he subbed off Hazard. Of course, the fan in me was thinking, leave Hazard on. The game's not sealed off yet, even though it was. But of course, we've got Roma coming up. We need to beat them. Once we beat Roma, we've basically qualified for the Champions League. But you know what? I liked the use of the ball. Of course, like I said, we were struggling to break Bournemouth down, but we were creating chances. And if anything, Bournemouth had no counter-attacking threat at all. Of course, the back three worked very well to stifle anything they had. I think out of the back three, I'd have to say maybe Luiz was probably the weakest today. And there's a reason why Luiz was the weakest. We all saw that massive strap on his knee, on his right knee. And of course, you got to think, a lot of us have done sport, play football. When your knee hurts or when you're playing football, you're turning a lot of time, so you're putting pressure on your knee. Luiz probably had to take an injection before this game and had it wrapped up in case. The guy's a warrior, he's going to put his body on the line. He's a typical old school style Chelsea player. But of course, I think it took from his performance, but I was very happy today with Azpilicueta and I was happy with Rudiger. I was happy with Aspi because it was like he was playing more of the Aspi role when we were on that 13-game unbeaten run, pushing out wide to help defend with the fullback. That's what you want Aspi to do. Same thing with Rudiger. He was comfortable pushing out wide to help support Alonso when he needed. And again, Azpilicueta was some very good blocks when he needed to be there. Concentration was on point. Rudiger as well, I felt this was probably his best game he's played for us so far. And it's promising to see what's going to happen. And it's no surprise, the minute we've got some composure in the back three, some ball playing ability, how much better the team looks in terms of, how much further forward the wing backs can push up. Of course, we do end up getting the goal in the end through Eden Hazard. To me, Eden Hazard was the best player today. He really makes a difference. He helps change the whole dynamics of the game. I kept making this point though, in the first half especially, Hazard kept having to collect the ball from central positions and he kept drifting out wide. I know a lot of you guys saw my tweets on Twitter. I kept stressing, please, I want to see Hazard further left a bit. Why? Because if Hazard's collecting the ball out wide in the touchline, he's dragging away Bournemouth defenders, thus creating space for the Spaniards. And it was no surprise when Hazard got the first goal. It came from him collecting the ball on the left and a very clinical effort. Now, at first I criticised Begovic. Of course, I'll probably give him like 40% of the blame, but I keep making this point about Hazard. He's a very clinical player. Now, a lot of people complain about him not taking shots often. I agree. I feel sometimes he just needs to take a chance sometimes with his shooting. Hazard has to have the perfect moment all the time, but when he is on goal, 9 times out of 10, it's going in the back of the net. I mean, that was with his left foot, that near post. Great technique for the shot then. And in a way, it's a bit of a sign on you guys, but I've always dreamt that if we could get Hazard in a system where he's playing closer to the goal, that's going to make him take more shots on goal. That's going to increase his chances where he's going to be in more goal-scoring opportunities. And you're going to see an Eden Hazard scoring more goals. And of course, that's 5 and 5 for him now. Starting to get the goal scoring there. And honestly, this is probably a decent win in terms of the game against Roma coming on Tuesday. I think Bournemouth weren't really a threat at all. Maybe had one or, I wouldn't even say nervy moments. I felt we were in complete control of this game from a tactical aspect, from a playing aspect. It was fairly simple. Bournemouth, I understood why they'd play like this today. They are under pressure. They've only won 2 out of 9 games. They leak goals. They can't score goals. And what really summed up their performance today was 2 players coming off injured, which isn't going to help their cause whatsoever. And it's not looking too good for them. But again, we controlled the game from the minute to the end. Great game management. Substitutions by Conte as well. It's good that he's changing his rule of, only making subs in their 70th minute. He's making them earlier when he needs to. It's good seeing the likes of Drinkwater coming on now. Hopefully all this talk about us having a weak squad and it's not big enough are going to die down now, because it looks like all the players are coming back. And on Tuesday, it looks like Kante is going to be coming back. So we basically have a full strength squad. And honestly, all we need to do now, I feel, to get a good run of games coming along, we just need to really stick with that back three, I feel, of Rudiger or even Christensen, Luiz and Aspi. Not even disrespect to Kale about him being bad. I just think he suits the system tactically, having to play on the left-hand side, because it helps us relieve pressure. I mean, the amount of times when, let's say a Phobie or Wilson was trying to close down Luiz, for example, Luiz was confident that I can just pass the ball to Rudiger. Now, if Kale was there, Luis in the back of his mind doesn't necessarily want to play the passes out. So Luis will tend to drift to the left sometimes even to compensate for that. When you have someone where it gives you confidence, then it helps. And remember, football is a team game. It's all about 11 guys complementing each other's strengths and weaknesses. And by doing that, you need to know that I can trust you if I give you the ball here, give you the ball there. Now, there's just one thing. I feel sometimes us playing out from the back isn't as good as it was, last season especially. I think that's because Moses isn't playing. I made a comment on Twitter about Moses. I wasn't trying to put Zappa Costa down at all. I was just trying to highlight, Moses is an important player of the team. He's not as useless as people make him out to be. He helps us relieve pressure from the back. How many times would we see Moses collect the ball in our own half, skip past a man or two, and then the attack starts? And, Aspie would feel confident passing the ball to Moses because he knows Moses can keep the ball and help us play out from defence. So it helps. It's a shame that, he's got his injury, but he'll be back soon. But even then, Zappa is still a good squad player to have, a good addition to the squad. He's got his attributes when needed are very vital to how we play, and I feel he's had a good start. This game today, though, fairly simple, fairly easy. I mean, the only criticism I can really say is we just didn't take our chances, weren't as clinical. Really, this game shouldn't have been 1-0. We should have made it 2-0 at least. We were creating good opportunities. It's a shame that Morata's confidence is a bit low at this moment. Hopefully, he'll get there. He'll get there. I think if he gets a goal against Roma on Tuesday, that's going to help his cause a lot. But you guys, it's not really much to talk about. It was a fairly standard performance. Good performances from the likes of Rudiger, especially. I thought he was a standout. Aspie. I know there have been some criticisms in regards to Bakayoko. I know people are thinking, why isn't he on the ball much? Giving the ball away easily. And I keep making this point. He hasn't had a pre-season. He hasn't played much. Playing in a league where people just close you down without even thinking. Playing in a different system to Monaco where he had space to make good passing options. It's going to take the guy time, just like it took Ramirez time when he first signed for us. But, it was decent in terms of him, passing the ball quickly to Cesc. I think, if anything, we need to find a way to create more clear-cut chances against the likes of a Bournemouth, because it's not going to be the first time we'll see teams in the future adopting the same tactic of having us play in front of them and leaving the flanks free. Why do they do that? Because think about it like this. If Hazard's, Pedro and Morata are in the middle, you want them there because you don't have to worry about them making runs in behind or playing off you. If you leave the wing back isolated, they only have two options then. Pass back or put a cross in. If you're putting a cross in and you've packed your own box, you've 9 times out of 10 to win the ball from the crosses. You know what I mean? That's what the likes of Bournemouth will do and other teams will do in the future. I feel to really counter this, we need to start using the flanks a bit more effectively. It's not as quick. We don't switch the play quickly enough to really stretch teams. As you saw with Man City, one of their goals they scored today against West Brom, that sums up the difference at this moment in time for me. I feel to counter this though, instead of always relying on the likes of a Pedro Hazard collecting the ball more, in the half spaces, the space between the middle and the wide area of the pitch. Maybe if Hazard or even Pedro, I think Hazard especially because he's the key to this team, play him a bit wider on the left. That means that gives a different option to Alonso. Hazard only does his dribbles when he's on the left-hand side cutting in. When Hazard's skipping past 1, skipping past 2, that's creating space for other players to move into. Because here's the thing, the minute Hazard skip past someone, a Bournemouth player knows, oh crap, I need to run in here and try and close them down. Essentially freeing up space. I feel Conte should adapt like that a bit. Second half we were doing that. That's why, we were, I felt we weren't as clinical with our passing, but, we had more space to play in effectively. And I think that's the only thing we need to do now to really get ourselves on a good run of form and to really start, getting the goals and getting back into the games now. But anyway, you guys, you know what? I felt it wasn't the most amazing performance, but, it was better in terms of the control we had in this game. We used the ball better. Bournemouth had no threat at all whatsoever, other than a Jordan Ibe, shot. Other than that, there was really nothing. I'm looking at my notes. Not really anything to say. I've spoken about everything. So that's going to end today's match review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. One more thing the last thing is the video I'm releasing on the 433. I'm not going to release it on Sunday. It's taking a lot more time because I am going through a lot of our previous games. I am trying to use some footage. I'm trying to take photos to really, like, you know, give visual interpretations of the points I'm trying to make, because I'm trying to, you know, putting a lot of effort in this video. So probably expect it, you know, I say latest Wednesday. There's going to be a Predict That 11 coming out for the Roma game. And of course the match previews, reviews, news dailies, all of that stuff. And you guys, before you go, by the subscription tab, you'll see the bell notification sign. It literally takes a second. Just click on it. Allow yourself to get notified to every Blue Lines TV video. It takes a second. I know most of you guys are watching it on your phone now. Anyway, if you do that, that helps, because I only found out literally 15% of subscribers get notified. You know, YouTube isn't a very safe or consistent platform. Anyway, I'm rounding it on. I'm off. Thanks for watching today's match review. I'm the NFC. This is Blue Lines TV. If you like the match review, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.